I've been working for myself from all over the world since 2018, and I've worked from 30 different countries and counting. And one thing that you always need when you're going to be working for yourself is a nice place to work. And I personally prefer to work outside of the home. Enter co-working spaces. Now, you're probably familiar with the concept of a co-working space, but in this video, I'm going to share some solutions that enable you to co-work from pretty much anywhere in the world without having to have all kinds of different subscriptions. So I'm going to share 4 different platforms with you that have a very wide international presence. And if I were you, I would encourage you to just pick one of these that works for the places that you like to go. So the first solution that I recommend is WeWork. And because they're quite famous, I won't say too much about this one because I'm guessing that many of you are already familiar with the brand. But one side note before I move forward with the stats is that despite all the controversy, they are absolutely still in business, even though the company notoriously filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the recent past. They are still alive and going. All right, so let's talk about WeWork. When it comes to the locations and the access, it says on Google that they have 779 locations in 39 different countries across 70 plus major cities. So despite them having all these locations across the world, I am going to give them a score of a 6 because they really are only in major cities. Even if you're in a large city that is a little bit lower income, like a city like Riverside, my hometown, you're not going to find a WeWork in a city like that, despite the large numbers of people that would live there. They're only in like upper class major cities. So that's why I gave this one a score of a 6. Okay, so then when it comes to the amenities, what I love about WeWork is they always have free coffee, and some locations even have sparkling water. And in Barcelona, they even had beer on tap and IPAs on tap, which you could use after work hours for like little after work mixers. They're also generally pet friendly, community friendly. They have phone booths and printing included in your membership. And I've actually personally never had a membership to WeWork, but I did once teach yoga at a WeWork before to the members. So they offered a free yoga class to the members there. And I've worked at WeWork with friends many times. So I can say that the aesthetics are really great. That's the next point. It's very modern, very inspiring. They have a lot of motivational quotes. Their slogan is do what you love. And they really have quality, consistent branding across everything you'll see in the interiors and digitally. So I give that a score of an 8 for aesthetics. As for member access, this little section is like how versatile the memberships are, if you can customize it to what you want and what you need. I give this one a score of a 7 because it does have various options. You can sign up monthly, and then this is actually new. It wasn't like this years ago. You can buy a day pass or an hourly pass. You can also choose to get a private office, which is more, of course. And then there are meeting rooms that you have credits to book each month, even if you're just doing a hot desk. Okay, then the next one is guest access. I gave this a score of a 2 because the only time you can bring a guest is if you have a meeting room booked. So you can't really share this with a friend or a partner if you wanted to. And then for the price, I gave it $3 signs. It's in the medium high range, mostly high. You can get a more limited one for $200 a month or the full unlimited one for $300 a month. And then you can also do a $29 day pass or $8 hourly pass, which is a good option if you don't work full time and you only need it for a little while. And also consider that when you pay these prices, you're getting unlimited coffee. And if you're like me, you need coffee all while you're working. So that kind of makes half of the membership worth it right there. So for the overall value of WeWork, because it does have really good global access, but at a slightly steeper price, I give the value score a 6 out of 10. All right, moving on to Spaces. Spaces is really similar to WeWork. The business model is similar. The spaces even look similar. I think what differentiates them is their pricing model and the fact that they have locations in different places. It says that Spaces has 529 locations worldwide, which is less than WeWork. However, they also have a partnership with Regus, which has even more locations. So they claim that you have access to 3,000 locations when you sign up for a membership with Spaces. And what I love about Spaces is that they are available in smaller cities. You're not only going to find these spaces in major high net worth cities, you're going to find them all over the States in smaller towns too. I give that a location score of an 8 for that reason. Then when it comes to the amenities, there are networking events and phone booths, but I didn't find anything on their website about printing and coffee. And this one I've never used myself personally, but I have done some online research on it, and this is definitely the co-working space that I would choose between Spaces and WeWork just for the price and the value. And I could just bring my own coffee or go out and buy it somewhere else. Then when it comes to the aesthetics, it's not as beautiful as WeWork in my opinion, but it is very much acceptable. It's clean, professional, modern, and minimal. They're just missing that high quality branding that I think WeWork really nailed. So I give this one a 6 score for aesthetics. And then for member access, I think this one has more options. So I gave it an 8 out of 10 because you can choose to sign up for only 5 days a month, 10 days a month, unlimited days of the month, or private offices and meeting rooms. And that's great for someone like me because I don't exactly work all working days of the month. So if I wanted to just start off with only 5 days of the month and just go like once a week or 10 days and go twice a week, then you can actually save money. And that's why if you'll see down below, the price starts at $119 a month and it goes up to $269 depending on what you need. So I gave this one a $2 sign. Going back up to guest access, you do get 1 guest pass with an unlimited membership, but that's really not much. So I gave that a 3 score. And then for value, because they have such great global access and opportunities at various budgets, but no coffee, I gave it a 6. And just to remind you, Spaces is international. They are spread out all across the world in every major continent. So there's no shortage of options if you are a digital nomad. All right, next one is Croissant, and this is one that I've personally been using for many years, and I do have an affiliate code with them. So if you're interested in signing up for Croissant, then use my link in the description, and you'll get $15 off if you go to getcroissant.com/a/Brittany40, or just click the link below so that you don't mess it up. So Croissant is actually not a co-working space, but it's an app that works just like a ClassPass or an Airbnb, but for co-working spaces. So you can look at a variety of different spaces and choose the one that suits you, and you get a lot of variety that way. And what I love about this app is you only pay for what you use, so you don't have to feel guilty for not going every single day or working from home some days, because the hours also roll over month to month if you don't use them over a certain amount of time. I don't remember how many months they roll over, but it's very forgiving that if you don't use all your hours one month, you can use them definitely the next month. And you can also invite guests, and a lot of the plans give you guest hours. So Croissant is located in hundreds of locations in 94 major cities and some small cities too. This is the only app that I could use to find a co-working space in my hometown of Riverside, and I love going to that space when I'm visiting home, and I can just book a couple hours and leave. And I was the girl that would be there around every kind of holiday season, just popping in and getting my work done and getting out. And because this is more of a ClassPass situation, the amenities do vary depending on the space, but the variety to choose is nice, and each space will tell you what kind of amenities they have on the app. So you can see if they offer free coffee. I even went to a place on Croissant that had free cake every single day. There was like coffee cake next to the coffee station. A lot of the locations are very charming and very cozy because they are individual locations, not chains privately owned, but then you still get to mix it up and have that international variety because they're all on the same app that you pay 1 monthly price for. So then when it comes to the aesthetics, again, it really varies depending on the space. There are some nice ones, but there are also a lot of ones that are not very nice at all, and they look like very boring old school offices. I'd say if I had to average out the aesthetics of all the places on the app, I would give it a 4 because it's very hit or miss. But I have my favorite places that I've gone in the world, and there are some places with 10 out of 10 aesthetics, but there are also places with 1. So it just depends on where you are. Then for member access, I love this one because you can pay monthly and it charges you a package of how many hours you want, or you can select the pay-as-you-go plan, and that's going to be $5 an hour, which it says down below. When it comes to guest access, some of the plans include guest hours, but you can also purchase more if you want to. So you can share this app with a friend, or you can just refer them and you can both use it because you don't need to really commit. You can just pay by the hour if you want to. So the price varies. They have a monthly plan that's $20 a month and a monthly plan that's up to $150 a month, or a plan where you can just do $5 an hour and go when you need to. And again, a lot of them do provide coffee. So sometimes it's worth it to just pop in for an hour and get your coffee and go. That's probably frowned upon a little bit, but I've definitely done that before. And then the value, because this is really affordable and you're only paying for exactly what you use, I give this a value score of an 8. And then the last one, my personal favorite, is Soho House. And before I get into the specs, I just want to add a note that technically Soho House is not a co-working space. It is a private members club where you can work on your laptop from most of the areas in the club during work hours. So these are luxury members clubs, and there are pool areas, for example. They don't want you working at the pool, so you can't work from there, but you can generally work from any of the inside areas that aren't like super vacation-y. And they do often tell you to shut your laptops around 7 p.m. So you can't keep working into night hours, foster a fun environment. They also have a rule against talking on the phone and taking video calls in most parts of the house, but they have designated areas where you can take calls. So let's talk about Soho House. So this one, although they are spread out across the world, they do only have 40 houses in the world and 75 locations. I'll get more into what those different locations are in a moment. But because there's only 40 houses compared to the other ones that have like hundreds, I give this one a score of a 5, although they really did hit almost every major city. They're predominantly located in LA, New York, and London. But there are multiple houses in Barcelona, and they are constantly expanding, I will say that. Their amenities are really what sets this one apart because it's not a co-working space. They also have a ton of events, a whole networking app, swimming pools, gyms, spas, movie theaters, and more. Every house is different and they all have different amenities, but from the whole membership on a global scale, you have access to so many amazing spaces. And then getting into the aesthetics, I give the aesthetics a 10 out of 10 because all the spaces are so incredibly beautiful. It's very high-end luxury, and it's designed to be very cozy. It almost feels like you're in someone's house in some parts of the Soho houses. The styles do vary depending on the location, but what I love about this brand is they always try to pay homage to the city that they are in. So for example, they opened a house in downtown LA and they renovated an old warehouse and there's tons of graffiti inside, but it's done super tastefully to honor the street style of the arts district in downtown Los Angeles. And then on the other side of town, there's the West Hollywood one, which is like glitzy and sparkly and shiny gold to represent the kind of West Hollywood feel. And then the Barcelona house has a lot of tile and a lot of textures and a lot of color, and it's very Barcelona. So the aesthetics are always a 10 out of 10, but it varies depending on where you are. Generally, they have a rustic theme going on though. And then for member access, I give this a very low score of a 3 because it's a very exclusive membership. Most people probably won't even get approved to join. You are supposed to be a creative to join, but I know lots of people that aren't creatives that get in. And when you join, you are committing on an annual basis, and you can pay quarterly or annually in most places, including the US. And then in Europe, they do allow you to pay monthly. And not a lot of flexibility with that membership. You also are recommended to have a referral in order to join, so it helps if you know someone who's already a member. And then for guest access, I give this one a 10 out of 10 because you can bring up to 3 guests with you at any time. There's no limit to that. So you really could share this membership with a partner. If you both needed some place to work every day, you could get 2 for 1, basically. The only caveat to that is that you would be the only one who could use the gym, or in some cases, go to certain events that are for members only, but both of you could access the swimming pools, the movie theaters, a lot of the events, and definitely the co-working areas. All right, and then the price for this is the most expensive on the higher end. It starts at $110 a month, and it goes up to about $400 a month, depending on the location where you join and your age. I'll get into that. So as I said, the pricing for Soho House, it really varies depending on different factors. It's so complicated that they created this pricing calculator so people could figure out how much they're going to have to pay. So if you go to sohohouse.com/pricing, you can calculate this for yourself. So you can choose between a Soho House membership, Cities Without Houses, or Soho Friends. This is just if you don't live near any of the houses, they just let you kind of not associate with any of the local locations. So let's say you want a Soho House membership, and then they ask you if you want access to all the houses or just one house. For best practices, just go every house. And then it asks you which house you will use the most. So these are the kind of cities where they have a location. So let's say you are in Toronto, and then if you're under 27, you actually get 50% off your membership until you are 30 years old. And I just turned 30, so now I pay full price. So if you put yes, you're under 27, then this is the price you're going to pay in the local currency. If you are over, then it's going to be double that. And they do also have an introduction fee, but that money, you get to use it on food, drinks, and hotel rooms. So I don't really consider that a throwaway because you're going to want to order food at some point when you're in there. And then Soho Friends is a very different price. So this is for access to the Soho Studios, and it's just a simple $130 a year, which breaks down to like almost $10 a month, and you access Soho Studios. Let me see if I can find an example of a Soho Studio on here. So this is kind of what the Soho Studio looks like. It's just a very miniature Soho house. You can't really see the scale from these photos, but yeah, this is basically it. So it's kind of a glorified coffee shop. I even see some friends in this photo. Oh, I'm nostalgic. So they have their own events here that you can use as a Soho friend, but you can't access the main houses, which is kind of where most of the benefit lies. So if you're on a super tight budget, this is a good alternative, but otherwise I wouldn't really recommend it. And then overall, with the whole membership, it has really good value. I give it an 8 out of 10 because the spaces are gorgeous. You have insane amenities and networking value. You're going to be intermingling with really high net worth people at times, and you get all this at a premium price. But I definitely think it's worth the value, and that's why I've been a member since 2018. And as a final recap, here is a kind of one-pager comparison summarizing the pros and cons of everything I've talked about. I won't go into it again because this video has gotten unexpectedly longer than I planned. If you're still watching, thanks. But yeah, here you can see that my picks are Croissant and Soho House, and that's mostly because I don't really work full-time hours, so the more office-y space where you're just paying for the office is much better for people who work full-time, like 9 to 5. And then I really prefer Soho House because I get all the other amenities, and then Croissant when I really want to focus and get more of an office feel, but only for a few hours out of the month. All right, well, those were some of my favorite co-working spaces. This video was not sponsored by any of those different spaces, but I do have an affiliate link for Croissant. If you want to sign up, you will get some free hours of co-working with them, so use the link in my description to take advantage of that. All right, well, that's the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.